Um, Thank you. All coins are chulin, even a golden dinner with silver and copper coins. If one found a potsherd with them and Maaser was written on it, it is Maaser. Um, if one found a vessel on which korban was written, Rabbi Yehuda says if it was earthenware, it is chulin, but if its contents are korban. If it was metal, it is korban, but its contents are chulin. They said to him, it is not customary for people to put chulin into korban. If one finds a vessel on which was written Kaf, Korban, Mem, Maisa, Dalit, Damai, and Tet, Tevel, Tav, Truma, since in times of danger they would write Tav instead of Truma, Reb Yossi says all these are names of people. Reb Yossi said even if one found a jar full of produce and Truma was written on it, is Chulin, because we presume that last year it was full of Truma produce and he removed it. Okay.
Okay. Okay, your base. Omer Livno. Maaser Sheni bezavis zo. He says, I put my Maaser Sheni, all the Maaser Sheni produce, in that corner of the house. And the son goes and he finds in the corner matzah bezavis acheres, but he doesn't find it in that corner. He finds it in a different corner. So now the son can presume that the produce that he found in the opposite corner is not Maaser Sheni. It's different. That he can say, well, look, my dad said that the one corner, that the west corner um, is the uh, is the Maaser Sheni, but this was found in the east corner. So in that case, I can presume it's different stuff, and this must be chulin. However, Hayasham Maneh, if his father said, I put one Maneh, that's 100 100 what's it zuz. Oh, sorry, is this yeah, Paris. I put a money in one corner, and he comes and finds 200. That's okay. Hashar chulin. He says, well, it was probably chulin that was put on top of Maaser Sheni. So now we fall back on that halacha that we had before of what happens when they get mixed up. Okay, you've got the full amount over there, so you haven't lost anything. So, but you have to basically have to separate out and say wherever the Maaser Sheni is redeemed on these coins, and separate them out again. Okay, if the father said Masayim, there was 200 there, Matsamane, and he finds 100, then it's pretty obvious. He's just going to say, well, that's Hakol Maaser. So 100 was consumed, and now it's still all Maaser. All right. Next parak, we're moving on to the subject of Kerem Revai, or Neta Revai. That's the fourth year produce of a tree. So it's not to do with Shemitah, it's got to do with the tree itself. And the first 3 years, as we know, are Orla, where the fruit is prohibited. Any benefit from it is prohibited. And the fourth year is Neta Revai, which has basically got the same halachas as Maaser Sheni, which means that it can be redeemed or it can be taken up to Yerushalayim. Now, it seems like there's a slight preference, as we'll see in the Mishnayos, that the fruit itself should be taken to Yerushalayim, but excuse me. Interesting. There's a bit of discussion about the fact that the Mishnah tends to use the word kerem revai as opposed to stam neta revai. Kerem is specific to grapes, and neta would be just any kind of tree. And there is a machlokes between the Rishonim as to whether neta revai applies only to grapes or to all produce. We follow the Rambam on this, who says that it's everything. Okay, so
You say the Rambam saying Kevin Revai is everything.
Kerem Revai actually means Neta Revai. That's right, it means everything. Okay. So we're not just talking about the vineyard, we're talking about any kind of tree, but it's just as we'll see, Kati points it out in the first. He pointed out in his introduction to the Mishnah that Kerem is lav dafka. We're not specifically talking about vineyards, and it would apply to your lemon tree too. Okay. Kerem Revai Mitzaini Noso because of Adama. So this is if you have a coincidence of the 4th year of a tree's life with the Shemitah year. And actually, I wonder if this is specifically. Okay, we'll talk. I think we talk about it again actually in the Mishnah. Okay, never mind. We'll come back to it. I can't remember if it's actually explicit in the Mishnah or not, but there may have been a question as to whether it's specifically for the 7th year or just in general that people should know what something is. But you definitely need this in the Shemitah year because let's say you've got your vineyard which is in its 4th year, and all the produce is hefker.
So, right.
So that means you've got to be careful because people must know when they're picking these grapes, these are revai and they have to be taken to Yerushalayim or they have to be redeemed. So what's the siman? It's saying also because it's adama with big clods of earth. So you basically make a sort of not exactly a wall, but a mound, a big mound of earth that goes around the area where the 4th year trees are. Okay, and that is people understand when they see that. Oh, they say, oh, this is a 4th year tree. Now, why do they use mounds of earth? Because the rain will come during that year and it'll wipe it out. So it's really got a time limit on it, and by the time next year comes, that mound will be washed away. So it's a nice temporary sign that you can put up while the fruit is ripe for this year, just so people know if they're coming to take the fruit that it's revai. Okay. Netzainus of it causes us adama. B'shel orla b'charsis. When something is orla, however, you have to put a line of clay around. Now clay looks different from regular earth. It's thick and sticky and it doesn't grow well. Things don't grow in it, and that's really the siman that we have.
I think it has a color to it, doesn't it?
Right, it's got a certain color. It'll be a slightly different color from the regular earth, and the siman is that you look at it and think, oh, nothing grows in clay, and that means so basically, oh, can't use this. This must be orla, and it'll last a lot longer. And it'll last a lot longer, and people will know that this is this is an orla orchard or vineyard or whatever it is, and we'll stay away from it. Now switching to graves, no longer talking about produce, but in order to prevent Kohanim and Nazirim from accidentally walking over a grave, you're supposed to mark it out with lime. So if it hasn't got a matzeva on it yet, and then you're supposed to mark it out with lime, which is white and is supposed to remind you of bones.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So when the Kohanim come through and they say, ooh, or anyone who wants to come through and doesn't want to become tamei. Okay, so there it is. You mark it out in lime. And he spreads it and pours it. So basically, he puts it into he dissolves the lime into water, which makes it a brighter white, and then he pours it out around the grave. Amar Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel b'medvar mamurim b'shvius. There we go. So he says this is talking about during the Shemitah year when everything is hefker, and you have to worry about people coming and stealing not stealing, coming and taking the hefker produce. But Tnuim, however, the really scrupulous people, manichin es hamaos v'omrim kol hanilkat mizeh yehei mechulal al hamaos ha'elu. And the people who are like really, the tzaddikim, they put out a coin for themselves and say, well, basically whatever people eat from this produce is redeemed on this money. So that he's giving them the opportunity to, in case people come in case Amei Haaretz come in and they don't know what this all means, and that they shouldn't really be eating the neter avai, in order to prevent them from being nechshal, they put out some money to redeem the produce that the Amei Haaretz will eat. Right? They don't redeem it all immediately because if they want people to have the opportunity to, if they do want to take neter avai to Yerushalayim, they can take it. Shalom and Israel, that'll be wonderful. Okay. Mishna base. Kerem Revai Haya Ole Yerushalayim Mahalech Yom Echad Lechol Tsar. So they said that produce from Kerem Revai should be taken up to Yerushalayim from a distance of 1 day in all directions, all around Yerushalayim. They said you should take them up. This is the Takanas Chachamim, because they wanted it to be a nice thing for Yerushalayim, so that all of the marketplaces of Yerushalayim should be decorated with Paris.
Right.
Okay. Ve'ezahi techuma. So what is this boundary of 1 day's travel in all directions? Eilat min hadarom. Okay, this is not talking about Eilat of today.
I figured that.
Because that's a lot longer than 1 day's journey if you don't have a car.
Right.
Okay, this Eilat over here is in the proximity of Hebron. Or another opinion says that this is Beit Guvrin. Okay, nice and close to us.
Right.
Okay, that's Akrabas Minatzafon. I don't have a marker for you of that in the north, wherever Akraba is. I just don't know it. Lud Mina Marav, the Hayardain Mina Mizrach. Okay, so that if you have forth your produce, then you should bring it up to Yerushalayim from there. Misharabu Aperos, however, when Eretz Yisrael became much more bountiful, and there was lots of fruit growing all around. They changed the practice so that you could redeem your produce even right up to the walls of Yerushalayim. But they made a tanai in this. That whenever they would want to, they could return the takana to its previous state. Now, this is an important thing to build in this escape clause, because in general, you can't overturn a previous based in's decision unless the other based in is greater in number and in wisdom. Okay, now. And they knew that this was going to happen because they'd seen it happen to themselves from previous generations. They said, "Listen, we're changing the psak, but we're also paskening that a future generation who wants to change this back has the permission to do so with our permission." Okay, so they built in the escape clause over there that at any point they can turn it back. Rabbi Yossi Omer Mishacharav Beis Hamikdash Haya Hatanayazeh. He says this is because of the Churban Beis Hamikdash. That they made this thing that you can redeem all the fruit. Okay. That when the Beis Hamikdash would be rebuilt, then they would be able to. Then they would return the Tanai to this condition. Okay, and we are done because I need to go to Shachris.
I'm sorry if I'd seen it earlier. When did you send that?
It's about 7:30, 7:25 or something like that. Okay.
Okay, have a good